Hello. On behalf of our Commander-in-Chief, Governor Jay Nixon, we would like to welcome you to this inside look at the Missouri National Guard. I'm Major General Steve Danner.
And I'm Katie Steele Danner, a proud National Guard spouse.
Governor Nixon and I are proud to command the most seasoned, battle-tested Guard in our state's history. Today's Missouri National Guard is recognized as a national leader in terms of readiness and manpower. Our Army Guard is at 108% strength, while the Air Guard is at 103% strength.
The Missouri National Guard is also an important community leader. More than 10,000 Guardsmen have mobilized to support communities across the state. It's also an economic powerhouse, bringing more than $1 billion into the state annually.
Like their forefathers, our modern-day Minutemen selflessly leave their offices, farms, and factories to protect good people from bad things. Whether they're serving their communities at home or the nation overseas, our citizen soldiers and airmen are always ready, always there.
Since 2001, our Guardsmen have supported more than 18,000 overseas deployments. For every soldier or airman who deployed, countless family members, employers, friends, and others have supported that service.
Their stories come across my desk every day, and I am excited to share some of them with you today. We now turn you over to Major Mike Roberts. He will be your host and your guide for this episode. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to the headquarters of the Missouri National Guard and the offices of Major General Steve Danner. I'm Mike Roberts, and on this edition of MNG TV, wounded warriors get away from it all for a day in the country.
It's nice to get a little fresh air and no sirens and all the honking. It's nice.
A Missouri Guard unit specializing in weapons of mass destruction has fans breathing easy at major sporting events.
So we're going to be manning 2 gates, and then also we're going to have a team that is ready to make entry into the stadium in the event of an incident, with WMD in nature.
You'll meet Specialist Blake Poole, who's taking Army combatives to a whole new level.
He makes his professional debut. He fights out of Kansas City, Missouri. Introducing Blake Poole.
And finally, 14 Missouri Guardsmen, all Purple Heart recipients from the same battle, reunite to tell their story.
Our first day of being on duty was the day we got attacked.
Join me as we take an inside look at the Missouri National Guard. A Missouri Guard unit specializing in weapons of mass destruction has fans breathing easy at major sporting events.
We had to go up on the top level and walk.
Members of the Missouri National Guard assisted in providing a safe and secure environment at the 2013 World Series games held in St. Louis, Missouri. The 7th Weapons of Mass Destruction Civil Support Team collaborated with local, state, and federal agencies to verify the absence of hazardous material at Busch Stadium. 5 teams comprised of National Guard, Department of Energy, and other agencies inspected each section of the stadium.
Right now we're just
Sergeant First Class Juan Gallego is working his 3rd World Series. His experience and the experience of many team members helped to prepare the CST for any circumstance.
We always have to stand on alert because we are the first ones that they're going to call in case of a nuclear, biological, radiological incident that's going to happen in the state of Missouri.
Sergeant Gallego also says it is a great honor to support Major League Baseball and the citizens and visitors of Missouri. For the Missouri National Guard, I'm Army Sergeant Annika Jankowski.
Southeastern Conference East Division Championship on the line, the Missouri Tigers hosted the Texas A&M Aggies for the last regular season football game on November 30th, 2013. This was also a special night for the seniors, as they got a chance to step foot on the field for the last game of their college career. The honorary guest was 4-star General Frank Grass.
Nice to see you, sir. Good to see you. Thanks for coming out. Wouldn't miss it, wouldn't miss it.
General Grass serves as the 27th Chief of the National Guard Bureau
they have there.
and is a member of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. In this capacity, he serves as a military advisor to the President, Secretary of Defense, National Security Council, and is the Department of Defense's official channel of communication to the governors and state adjutants generals in all matters pertaining to the National Guard. He is responsible for ensuring that more than 470,000 Army and Air National Guard personnel are accessible, capable, and ready to protect the homeland and provide combat resources to the Army and Air Force. He started his career in the Missouri National Guard, rising to the rank of buck sergeant before becoming an officer. The University of Missouri honored General Grass with a signed Tigers jersey, showing their appreciation for his distinguished military service over the past 4 decades. His leadership and his devotion to the University of Missouri, the state of Missouri, and our nation.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
General Grass also took time out of his busy schedule to visit with the university's ROTC cadets as they man Little Joe, the cannon that fires when Mizzou scores a touchdown. The general and his wife spend most of their time in Washington, D.C., and whenever they can, enjoy traveling back to Missouri to visit their 2 daughters and grandchildren. Michael Sandnop, Missouri National Guard, Public Affairs Office.
Wounded warriors get away from it all for a day in the country.
Sometimes you just want to get away from it all. Some are new, some were peaceful. Wounded warriors of the Missouri National Guard are here enjoying a day in the country, doing just that. These wounded warriors are dealing with life-changing challenges and facing them each and every day.
It has changed. I do physical therapy and do that kind of stuff, but I can't run like I used to. But again, I thank God every day. I'm mobile, I'm up and I'm walking around.
Sergeant Ronnie Bishop drove nearly 2.5 hours from Kansas City to be here.
It's nice to get a little fresh air and, no sirens and all the honking. It's nice.
That's exactly what they found at the ranch of their host, the state's retired Command Sergeant Major James Schulte and his wife, Janelle. Sergeant Timothy Glore of Farmington, Missouri, served 2 tours in Iraq.
Something like this, just being out in the open, out in the wilderness, and just be yourself and just relax, take a deep breath.
I like your team too.
Yes, sir.
Number 1 in the SEC.
Yes, sir.
What can we say?
Major General Steve Danner, the Missouri National Guard Adjutant General, made a point to stop by and check on his guardsmen.
I'm getting med-boarded first. Events like this where the higher-ups come out and mingle with us lets us know that they care.
Sil Wiles Bernier works closely with the wounded warriors, tracking their progress.
Everything depends on the leadership. If you have a leadership team that cares from the heart, not caring about the numbers or what's going to look good, then you have an effective team.
That relationship with the chain of command allows her to make things happen.
Anytime I have an issue, get on the phone, call Miss Wiles, and she rattles enough cages to make it happen.
The Missouri National Guard is setting the standard on how Wounded Warrior program is helping their own. Other programs in Fort Riley, Fort Knox, Utah, and Illinois are reaching out to Mrs. Wiles, asking for her secret.
Going to the game? Are you going?
Michael Sanop, Missouri National Guard, Public Affairs Office.
We need this one.
As a soldier in the National Guard, the country depends on you. Your state depends on you. And serving only 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks a year, the people you are closest to can depend on you.
You'll meet Specialist Blake Poole, who's taking Army combatives to a whole new level.
Meet Specialist Blake Poole. He's a professional-level mixed martial arts fighter, a man who credits the Missouri National Guard for turning his life around and allowing him to pursue his dream of professional-level MMA.
Man, growing up, it was rough. You know, I could honestly say if I wouldn't have joined the National Guard, there's no telling where I'd be at.
Poole's best friend from the age of 2, a man who was practically his brother, met a tragic end following a path that could have been Poole's own.
Matter of fact, I lost one of my best friends Christmas Eve. He got shot. He got shot and killed over drugs, actually. It easily could have been me.
Poole knew that he had to do something different. His friend suggested joining the Army. So, at the age of 17, Poole enlisted into the Missouri National Guard.
You know, it took a lot of courage, which going through, basic training and AIT, the way the drill sergeants pushed me, I'd never been pushed that hard, not even in martial arts.
During those months away from the streets, he learned Army values, honor, perseverance, and self-confidence. He applied them to his life wholeheartedly.
After boot camp and AIT, I was a different person. More confident, stronger-willed, definitely.
We're brothers in arms, We've been in the Army. We joined at the same time, same RSP unit. Went to basic training and AIT, not in the same place, but in the same time. And yeah, we started MMA at the same time together. We've both been on the same journey, same path. Specialist
Zach Hubbard, also an MMA fighter, serves in the same unit as Poole.
I like it to let people know the fact that soldiers are tough, There's not a whole lot of prominent soldier fighters out there. I think me and Blake are honestly at the front lines of that.
Soldier fighters, as Hubbard puts it, are those who go above and beyond their original training to excel in hand-to-hand fighting.
Nice!
Both Hubbard and Poole went into MMA to hone their skills.
That's just how much more harder I have to push myself. I have to stay that much more disciplined because I'm not always around disciplined people. So it is very challenging, but at the same time, I love doing what I do. I've learned what true humbleness is. I've learned what not to do, what not to be like. I've learned perseverance.
So what is it he does? He trains. And what does he train for?
Defending myself. I'm more confident in almost every aspect of my life just from training this art form.
And across the cage, his opponent tonight fighting out of the blue
Poole
corner.
finally had a chance to put his training to use in the Bellator Mixed Martial Arts Tournament.
He makes his professional debut. He fights out of Kansas City, Missouri. Introducing Blake Poole.
You get 2 chances and you're out. Okay, my first fight, I lost. My very first fight. Automatically, right then, loser bracket, a lot of people, that would be demoralizing too. A lot of people would be like, oh man, that sucks. They would feel worse inside, but all I did was push me harder, make me want it even more.
But he applied what he had learned in basic training, the resilience and the perseverance that gave him the will to fight on.
People thought it was over at that time. Nah, I never quit, man. That's the one thing. I've never been tapped out in over 25 fights.
He advanced to the final round and only lost by decision. He also learned about honor and applied it here as well. He says it was a clean fight, and because it was Poole's premier fight, he impressed a lot of people, including
the owner of Bellator contacted my promoter and was like, hey, I want to meet Blake. Send Blake to me. I want to shake his hand personally to tell him that was one hell of a fight, man.
The crowd doesn't love it.
This encouraged Poole to continue, to train harder than ever before, to overcome his own limitations, and with the support of his National Guard brothers, drives on.
I had a good 50, 60 soldiers there from my company, from my battalion, actually. That was awesome. Drove, 3.5 hours to come watch me fight, to watch a 15 minutes.
With his brothers at arms and his family backing him, he fights more for them than for himself. But with all of that support, one person still stands out.
Actually, one of my heroes is my stepfather. His name's William Sterling. Probably one of the most humble, hardest working men I've ever seen in my life. His perception on life is beautiful.
Inside like it, get him. 10 seconds.
He inspired him to be better, to be the man he is today. Yet he knows he can be more and tries hard to rise up to that level.
Yes, pound him out.
To be honest, that's pretty much my whole goal in life. Is to make my mother and my father proud, to reach their expectations.
All of this, he claims, is only possible through the Missouri National Guard.
I wanted more than that. And, the National Guard was an escape. I didn't know what to expect, but I have no regrets at all.
40,000 boys and girls from all corners of the globe invade the hills of West Virginia for the biggest event in Boy Scout history.
Okay, here's the deal. The National Jamboree is Scouting Showcase. Boys and girls from all walks of life, from all over America, from scouting and venturing, will be headed to the summit for the 2013 National Jamboree, the biggest event in all of scouting. For many of you scouts and venturers, this will be the first Jamboree experience of your lives. And it's time to go big and get wild.
And finally, 14 Missouri Guardsmen, all Purple Heart recipients from the same battle, reunite to tell their story.
Our first day of being on duty was the day we got attacked.
And everybody got their gear on. I was the first one to go out the back door, and I was like, holy cow. And then we saw the insurgents pour around the corners and, fought for a little while. And most of these people have never deployed before. So this was their first deployment in their first month.
How many is the first deployment? This is the first deployment. Wow.
So these bunch of kids, they, it was the bravest thing I ever saw.
I told Saunders and Huffman to get out of there because Huffman had a grenade strapped on his leg. He had a bullet wound to the face, and they refused and wanted to stay in the fight. One guy hid behind us like a small AC unit and a B hut, and he was wearing a friendly uniform, so I didn't shoot right away until he pointed his AK at me and started shooting at me. Moved out of the way at the last second, came back around the corner, and then I shot him, and he never came back up.
From that moment on, it was just a constant fight back and forth. I don't remember how I got injured, but they told me what happened. Sergeant O'Donnell was right behind me in the doorway, and he said I yelled grenade once and nothing happened. Well, the grenades they were throwing, they weren't very experienced because they taped the pins to their vest with electrician's tape. And it was really hot out, so the tape melted, and when they pulled the grenade off, the pin came off with it. So half of the grenades they threw didn't go off, they still had the pins in them. So he said I yelled grenade again, and they started pulling me back through the doorway, and it went off, and it knocked me out. Took shrapnel wounds and dislocated my shoulder and a couple of various other injuries.
Somebody kept calling me. I did not answer because, every time I answer the phone, it's like somebody's trying to sell me something.
The doc came over to me and said, hey, give me your cell phone. And I said, I gotta call my wife. And he's like, okay, you got 3 minutes. And I called her.
I was at my work. He calls me and he was like, I'm injured. And I was like, so that's what the call been about. The phone been ringing off the hook from midnight. And I was like, did you get shot, blown up this time, or what?
I told her I'm okay. I just took a little shrapnel and got blown up, got knocked out for just a little bit, but they're treating me fine.
When you're married to a person and he tells you everything, when he's lying.
So, well, there was silence for a little bit, and then there was the caring kicked in, the love. She's a very loving person. Like I said, if the insurgents would have gotten past us, we had a lot of civilians on our file. And if they would have gotten past us, their only job was to create destruction. Missouri National Guard stopped them there.
Welcome back. We hope you enjoyed the program.
Watching this program, I was reminded of a quote from George Washington. When we assumed the soldier, we did not lay aside the citizen. The Guardsmen featured in this program carry on the proud tradition of our forefathers, the Minutemen, using their military skills in their civilian lives and their civilian skills to better their military careers.
The Missouri National Guard is more than a military organization, it's a family. Like any family, we take care of each other, whether it's helping our wounded warriors or helping an out-of-work service member find a job. The Guard cares.
The physical, economic, emotional, spiritual, and psychological resilience of our force is what keeps us strong. It is that atmosphere that led our fellow Missouri Guardsman, General Frank Grass, to rise from the rank of private to 4-star general. It is that resiliency that lets you know that you can count on the Guard for everything from school visits to security at the World Series.
The men and women of the Missouri National Guard know they couldn't do what they do without you.
You make us proud to serve our state and nation.
We look forward to your continued support. Please let us know what you thought of the program. Send us any questions, comments, or story ideas to the email address after the credits.
Until next time, remember, the Missouri National Guard is always ready, always there.
That's going to do it for this edition of MNG TV, an inside look at the Missouri National Guard. We'll see you next time.